welcome to episode 30. Yes, that's right, episode 30 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby podcast. A little milestone there for us. Fantastic. Thank you all once again for continuing to subscribe, listen each week, give feedback, etc. on what we do, and I hope you continue to enjoy it. Once again, thank you to I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon, for sponsoring our podcast. I had a little email this week from the managing director who has advised their profits have increased since they have sponsored this show. So that's fantastic news for them. Anyway, what's going to be happening on this episode? Ollie will be here once again and we will be reviewing the Gallagher Premiership and the final round, or the final, should I say, match in the Women's Six Nations between England and France. And what a belter it was. Thoroughly enjoyed that game, but definitely one for the purists. We'll look at the news from in and around the game. We'll check out the fantasy rugby. There were no rounds, or no games, should I say, in the Allianz Premier 15s this week, so we won't be reviewing anything there. And yeah, that's probably about it. Let's just crack on with this episode. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, mate. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Oh, my bath. But obviously that's something we can come on to when we discuss the Gallagher Premiership, isn't it? We foresaw...
That's a strange start to the...
Well, just...
It's obviously not highlight of the weekend, is it?
No, but obviously, you know, all the abuse I got when Bath beat Leicester... Oh, I did genuinely...
Fully deserved.
Anyway, let's not make it about Bath and Leicester, although ultimately it probably will come down to that at some point.
That was the main event last weekend, wasn't it? But Bath certainly wasn't the main event this weekend, was it?
No, it absolutely was not, my man. It was not.
But how did Leicester get on anyway?
Yeah, we'll come back to that later on as well, Oliver. How's your week been so far, mate?
All right, mate. Pretty standard week. Busy.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, getting sort of back into the world. Seems to be getting back into coming back to life again, doesn't it? Slowly, but
which is nice.
Yeah, had my COVID vaccination as well over the weekend, mate. So that was all fun and games.
Good. You not been feeling great or feeling bionic?
Yeah, I had a couple of days of a bit under the weather, to be honest. Just sort of mild flu-y symptoms, but pretty standard from what I've read. I think that's quite common for a lot of people. So
I didn't know you
take it on the chin, I suppose, isn't it, mate? Take it on the chin.
Absolutely, mate. I'm still yet to have mine, but hey, never mind.
That must be because of my ripe old age, mate. I got in before you, but
well, potentially, yeah. But you know, I was supposed to have mine, wasn't I? So we all know the COVID story, so it's fine. No, we're not going to go back over that. So
I live in a civilized part of the world as well, isn't it? So we're probably a bit further ahead on the vaccination side. You might have to wait a little bit longer where you're from, mate.
But that makes no sense at all because you're literally 20 miles up the motorway. Oh,
yeah, true.
Are we not in the same area?
In civilization.
Although I did try to book mine in, and I actually had to go. The closest place that I could go to was literally on your doorstep, which made no sense to me at all. So you're probably right in what you're saying. Maybe your area is a little bit more overly developed than down here when they talk like that on the farm and all that kind of stuff.
There we go, mate. You'll get your turn there.
I'm sure I will. Okay, so let's just sidetrack from the pleasantries. Episode 30, mate. Bit of a milestone. I've mentioned it in the introduction. We're still here. We're still going, which is nice. Still enjoying it. Fantastic stuff. Hopefully the I was going to say millions of listeners are enjoying it, but the 18 on the statistics are enjoying it, which is good.
It's not about that for us, though, is it?
No, it's not, mate. We just like to talk crap on a call.
Yeah, it's good to catch up as mates each week as well, isn't it? Just chat a bit of rugby, general rubbish. But...
We do talk a lot of rubbish, though. Okay,
more you, but yeah, carry on.
So let's just put a little context to this conversation. Let's start with the news. Let's go Gallagher Premiership. Keep the Six Nations towards the end. A little bit of Lions chat. I missed the fantasy rugby chat, but I want to start off with Sarri's watch. So big game on the weekend in the Championship. Sarri's taking on probably their biggest contenders in the Ealing Trailfinders. I don't necessarily think Ealing are much contenders anymore. Saracens came out on top 48-20. I mean, again, all the boys were there, quite a few internationals. Saracens clearly went full bore to make a statement because obviously they'd lost to Ealing in the kind of warm-up scenarios. But I haven't actually got to see any highlights. But I've just kind of read up on it, and I think it's pretty much Sarries just kind of dominated. They had 11 full internationals. Again, it's just one of those. I guess it's Ealing obviously are the closest kind of contenders to kind of take the championship, I guess.
Yeah, they're definitely, other than Sarries, the strongest, as far as I'm aware, the strongest side in the league this season. Obviously, there's a couple of teams that are not too far off the Ealing. But, I think Ealing are just that little bit further ahead, aren't they? They tend. I think they're contenders and actually got aspirations for coming up into the Premiership as well, which is being chatted about, isn't it? Possibly joining season after next and that sort of thing. But I think totally agree. It's just Sarries they just decided to properly flex their Sarries muscles and, like you say, went full bore on. I don't think there was barring any injuries that I'm not aware of, there wasn't any international names missing this fixture, was there? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much.
Well, yeah.
A full strength kind of scenario for Sarries. So, fair play to them. We'll keep an eye on Sarries watch and see what kind of develops over the next few weeks. One kind of news thing that is obviously incorporated into the Gallagher Premiership, but also the potential for the Lions. I've noticed over the weekend there's been quite a few significant injuries in the Gallagher Premiership. You've got, obviously, Joe Launchbury picked up the injury against Bath, which looked quite nasty. Evans from Harlequins, the young flanker that's been doing really, really well for them, also in my fantasy league. So, unfortunately, at this point, he didn't make me many points. But I'll forgive him because he broke his fractured his tibia. So that's not good news. He's out for the season. And I also know.
Did you say Lions really? Because he's probably not.
No, sorry, no. But the other person that kind of picked up an injury was George North, and the font of all knowledge, the BBC is kind of saying he has an anxious wait to find out if he's going to be, able to even tour.
Really?
Because he's obviously been in some good form as well. I'm not 100% sure. A knee injury for the Ospreys against Cardiff. Just an interesting. It's always something, isn't it? There's always, something kind of happens to. I mean, I was kind of going more for North and Launchbury for the Lions, but
Yeah, it's just any rugby player, as ex-rugby players ourselves, it's you feel for anyone getting injured on the pitch, isn't it? But especially timing-wise for the guys who are sort of genuine contenders for scoring for the Lions. But George, I didn't know about George North actually, but that's
a bit of a worry.
Because it's definitely, if he was selected for the Lions, it'd be his last one, wouldn't it? So
exactly.
And he's been switching to 13. He's done pretty well over the Six Nations, hasn't he? So contender for that position, I think, isn't it? And Launch, I feel so sorry for him because he got cropped in the Six Nations, didn't he? And then potentially the same now for the Lions. And actually, he could have been a good shout. I think Gatland definitely would have been considering him as a second row option. He's the type of guy you'd want out in, personally anyway, for out in South Africa to take on the South Africans, isn't it? With his the way he plays and obviously the size of the guy as well in the second row, isn't it? So.
Yeah, definitely. So fingers crossed for all of those guys. I mean, obviously I know Evans will be out for the rest of the season, but fingers crossed for Launchbury and North. The assessments kind of go well for them, and it's not too significant an injury for them both.
Definitely.
Gallagher Premiership again. We'll run through the kind of order they were played in. Obviously, starting Friday night with Exeter and Bristol, but just before we go into that, tries are plenty again over this weekend. Really, wasn't it, from all teams? Some cracking rugby being played by everybody. And I think it does highlight a bit again the fact that what the ring fencing or no relegation, should we say, has done this season to teams. It's just kind of made it more kind of free flowing, and people are kind of having a crack, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm sure that comes into it, isn't it? I think it's probably a bit of a mix of things personally, because you've got, obviously it's the weather helps, doesn't it? It's playing a sort of later season now, isn't it? We're in nice conditions on the whole, isn't it, for a nice run in rugby, getting lots of tries in, but just generally good to see, isn't it? It's nice to see plenty of tries, and
Absolutely.
they're well contested games as well. A lot of them, aren't they? It's fairly close score lines, a lot of them, aren't they? And but tries being scored as well. It's not low scoring.
No, exactly.
Close games, which is good. So
yeah. So Friday Night Lights, Exeter over at Bristol, Ashton Gates. Exeter kind of came out on top, 20-12. Did you get to watch this one?
I didn't watch it in full live, but I did watch a fair bit of it live actually. But I personally, I don't know what your thought were. Just wow, Exeter, they just they're talking about Surrey's flexing their muscles. Exeter certainly flexed their muscles, didn't they? And
oh, mate, I mean, some statistics I think from the game. I could be wrong in this, and I know Exeter didn't give a penalty away until the second half. I think like around 50 minutes.
Yeah, I did hear similar actually. Yeah,
something ridiculous. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is total control of what of playing your game plan, knowing what you need to do, and actually just following the rules. So when you look at it from that perspective, the defensive display by Exeter won them the game, as far as I'm concerned. They were literally immense. They were physical. They ground Bristol down to the ground. You know, Bristol's 2 tries, don't get me wrong, they were brilliant tries, but they really required, like Pietau's double pump miss, flipping pass out. You know, what I'm saying is it took exceptional players to be at the top of their game to even get those 2 tries.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because of the Exeter defence.
Brilliance, it wasn't.
Yeah.
To break Exeter down, yeah. And that's, I mean, in the end, I would say the only thing, I mean, overall, that was just, Exeter massively just flexing their muscles and saying, look, we are Exeter. This is what we do. We are the champions. You're going to have to come to this standard if you want to topple us. But you would say a bit of a wake up call for Bristol, but actually, there is the argument. Bristol could afford to lose that game because there's still a bit of a gap, even from losing that game. There's still a bit of a gap. I think I haven't checked actually. Is it 6 points between them? I think there was 10 points between them, wasn't it? But,
hang on, mate. I'll have a quick look. You keep talking.
But also in Bristol's, Chiefs basically were full strength, I would say, and Bristol missing a fairly large number of what you would consider to be key first choice guys. Obviously, the ones that stand out are in the backs: Redrada, Sammy Redrada, and Sheedy.
8 points clear still.
It's 8 points, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's still a lot, but yeah, I know I understand what you're saying.
And yeah, missing key guys: Redrada, Sheedy, Randall. You'd argue, but obviously, Uren is playing some pretty decent rugby at the moment, anyway. But so some, and I think probably a key one as well for me was Nathan Hughes probably would have made quite a difference. Or a bit of difference in this game, especially for giving you a bit of front, because he is
front football, isn't he? He's the kind of go-to man, crashing it up.
He's a big unit, front exactly. Go forward, get a bit of gain line and all that, isn't it? But so yeah, they, that's just saying in there, but that's not to take anything away from Chiefs. They just, it's just that is Chiefs, isn't it? And that's what we saw from them last season with their dominance, isn't it? And it's just a shame that they couldn't have pulled that performance out last week, isn't it, against Leinster? But there we go. Or week before, sorry, was it?
No, I agree. But yeah, Chiefs just doing what Chiefs do best, really. There's not a great deal more we can kind of say. They were just, apart from Johnny Hill's whatever meter as it was, a spiral kick was just ridiculous.
Unbelievable, yeah, unbelievable.
Absolutely ridiculous. But hey.
But basically, full 80 minutes from Jack now as well. So maybe that was the missing link. They found their feet again. Now he's back.
Yeah, he played really well. I thought they all played really well. To be fair, all
Jack now. He's bolter for the Lions, even though he hasn't played much rugby. I would say, isn't it? I think Gatland's a fan of him. So,
well, Gatland was in the crowd again, wasn't he? He was having a look at Sam Simmons. He was having a look at Nolly and Johnny Hill and Slady, and all the boys.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just leave that one. Let's move to Saturday and Harlequins early kickoff. I think it was against London Irish. Now you predicted Irish, and you did predict Irish, didn't you?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh no, you didn't, did you? Sorry, we should really.
I predicted Quinn. I didn't think it was going to be a drubbing because I know Quins have won by fairly big margins in their recent games, but I thought Irish would give them a run for their money,
which they did do, and it took an exceptional drive by Smith at the death or near the death to kind of take the win away. I think obviously it was quite a niggly game. There's quite a lot of niggle. For want of a better niggle between London Irish and Quins over the years. We saw a red card for Esther Hazen on the 48th minute. Again, the niggle, I think, kind of got the best of him there. But Quins kind of did. Again, this was a game, Quins have won and they've won ugly. It's that, not ugly, but do you know what I mean? It's a ground out victory, like the Jesus, I can't talk. Like the likes of Exeter and Bristol do, they grind out wins when they aren't playing particularly well. If that makes sense. Yeah,
that was. Yeah, I mean, yeah. That take. That's probably the biggest positive Quins can take from that, isn't it? Although they were losing for a fair majority of that game, and Irish were gunning for him, and they managed, even with losing a guy to the red card, to clinch the win at the end, wasn't it? So. Yeah, that's a huge positive, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
Have you heard Esther Hazen how long he's out for? Because that could be a bit of a blow for them if he's out for a few weeks.
No, I don't think it's the kind of inquiry or meeting around it has happened yet. But you're absolutely right, because I think it's actually his second red of the season, so he could be looking at a bit more of a longer ban than three matches. I think it could be a little bit more, which obviously would impact on them because he's been a standout player for them through the season. But you got to, they've still got good players. I mean, Northmore, I think he's a good lad. He can play in the centre, can't he?
Yeah, they've got some, obviously got great sort of choice and backs there. But I think he has made a big difference for them. He's given them that
go forward ball.
Go forward. The
big
direction in the centre, isn't it? Someone to run off with the offloads and everything as well, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
Which is great for the likes of Smith inside of him and Marching outside of him, isn't it? It works. It's been working very well for them, isn't it? But there could be a blow. He could in theory be out for, if that's 4 or 5 games potentially. That's what is it? Is it 5 rounds of the normal season left? Yes, it is 5.
Yeah, 5, I think. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It could be a significant blow for them, really. But they are still up there contending for top 4, which is good. The next game, Newcastle Falcons at Gloucester. Now, this was a bit of a humdinger, this one. Newcastle got off to an absolute flyer, 21-0. Well, it finished 21-7 at half-time, but they were 21-0 up in the space of like the first 20 minutes or something. They scored some lovely tries. But then I think what the kind of factor was, they had the...
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I lost you just for a second.
Yeah, no, it's because for some reason I pressed Siri. I didn't mean to. So Newcastle had the win behind them. And I think it kind of shows because in the second half, Gloucester then took the game 35-24. So Newcastle, against the win, only scored 3 points in the second half, whereas Gloucester obviously scored 28, if my maths correct. So quite a difference, really. Thoughts, contributions?
um,
Are you just going to let me talk?
Oh, well reviewed, mate. Move on.
Thank you very much.
I didn't watch it live, but I've obviously seen the highlights, and yeah, I agree. It looked like a cracking game. Actually, both teams looked to play some very good rugby, like you say, and scored some. It was just a good contest, isn't it? Which was nice, nice to see actually, because it's especially Newcastle. Although they did lose it in the end, sadly, but they've definitely struggled for form for several games now, isn't it? So
yeah, for them.
Hopefully, potentially the start of them getting a bit of form back again, because they could do with picking up a couple more wins, I think, before the season's out.
Absolutely, no, I'd agree. Yeah, it was good to see, but like you say, equally, just disappointing that they didn't kind of didn't get the win. Yeah. So, let's just get this over and done with. East Midlands derby, Northampton versus Tigers. No doubt you'll have an opinion as always. Saints came out on top 23-18. Would you like to give your opinion first, or would you like to hear me make excuses?
Tigers excuses. No, I'm not. It's just, it is what it is, mate. It's the best team won, isn't it? Both teams played. Tigers again played some good rugby, but obviously it wasn't enough, and Saints were that little bit better, weren't they? And I think Dan Biggar had a pretty impressive, brave game.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Fair play to him.
And made a big difference for them. But
yeah,
no, unfortunately, I did predict a Saints win. I know the big game for Tigers was the weekend before, isn't it? So they're obviously heads down now, mate. I think the season's over, unfortunately, but there we go.
Well, I disagree the season's over, but what I will say is my kind of review of the game was, although Tigers were at home, they had 2 yellow cards. That obviously doesn't help. So indiscipline, again, seems to be a bit of a factor that's kind of creeping in for them. But what I think Tigers did do really well was again, they never kind of gave up. A bit like Bath the week before, they never kind of gave up. And right at the end, you were pushing and thinking they're going to get this. They're going to get this. They're going to take it. Ndolu came on. He made a massive difference, scoring his 2 tries.
He did actually,
didn't he? But again, defence. I think defence won this game for Northampton at the death, because they were literally, you ain't getting over our line. And they completely shut the Tigers out. So it was a really, really, although we lost, I really enjoyed the game. But yeah, fair play to the Saints. I think they were just a little bit better, a little bit more clinical on the day. And I think their discipline was a little bit better as well. But obviously with Dan Biggar, the man of the moment, a bit of a hero, really, coming back on when he was injured.
Would you say from that performance, Quinn showed a bit of sort of grit and tough underbelly, like, would you say?
Well, no, because we're talking about Northampton Tigers, but...
Well, sorry, did I say Quins?
You said Quins.
Saints, obviously. Saints.
Yes, I would say that. Did I say they didn't have that underbelly last week, did I?
I think you questioned them last week, didn't you? Saying about their potential soft underbelly when they come up against stiffer opposition, I think you were saying.
That was a very good analogy.
Maybe that's because they only play Tigers, didn't they?
No, I think no, you're fine. That's fine. Just one point, just going while we're on the Tigers. It's right. So Tigers have got Ben Youngs, Wigglesworth, and Van Porflate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would get rid of Tom Youngs.
Tom Youngs? Why?
He's not done nothing. He was all right. I'd get rid of Ben Youngs, mate. I think it'd be better having Wigglesworth and Van Porflate in the team. Just thinking of money wise, because Wigglesworth's got to be on a good bit of money. Youngs, he's got to be on a good money. Van Porflate's not on a great, obviously, because he's just kind of coming in. But I thought he made a difference when he came on. He was quicker, he was sharper. He set up the try, I think, if I remember rightly. Did he set up a try?
He did set up one.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He made a break, and it was. I just think get rid of Ben Youngs. What do you think?
I say keep him personally.
Oh, who would you get rid of? What, keep all 3?
Yeah, just keep. just keep them all, mate. You want to just take as much salary cap because the less new players Tigers can buy, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But so just keep using up that salary cap on Youngs and Ford and the rest of them.
What a stupid thing to say. Salary cap aside.
Joking aside, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, you don't know sort of who off the field as well within the club who's got the sort of best and most influence and impact. Obviously, Youngs must have a big role there, isn't it, as a senior player? So Wigglesworth's only come in this season, and let's be honest, still a great player, but he's how many more seasons has Wigglesworth actually got realistically in him as a top level player, isn't it?
But I was thinking more keeping Wigglesworth on to go into that kind of coaching role. I think he would. Do you think maybe he'd be a better mentor for Van Poorfleet and the other lad whose name eludes me that's supposed to be really good at scrum half? Can't think of his name now.
I don't know. I mean, you can't say that Youngs isn't good at bringing on young scrum halves as well. You can't. That's
no, no, you're right.
You can't really question that because you're not in the club to know that or whatever, is it, to see it? But he, I think he's probably a great senior player. The role model and mentor, like you say, is bringing the youngsters on. But I don't know, mate. I don't know. You've obviously got something against Ben Youngs, so.
No, I don't have anything against Ben Youngs. I just thought it was a nice little topic of conversation just from watching the game. Like I said, Van Poorfleet coming on, I thought he played really well. He upped the tempo and upped the kind of game, a bit like Spencer did when he came on for Bath.
So, yeah, and like you could say Van Poort very much looks like the kind of player that Ben Youngs did when he first came on the scene, isn't it? He's got that pace when he makes a break. He's gone, isn't he? He's quite exciting like that, isn't he? But I think you've got to definitely got to keep one of them. It's as a senior player. It's when you get into your big games, isn't it, that you need your experience. Yeah. So,
okay. So let's move on to the final game on Saturday. Sale against Worcester. Really good game. Sale looked like a totally different team, although again they lost. They looked really good. Huhard got a hat trick. Shilcock at fullback got a try. He looks really good. But I think Sale again, although they didn't have their best game, they know how to win. They still scored 5 tries, and obviously are keeping the pressure on the top 4.
Yeah, agreed, mate.
Okay, lovely. Move on.
Yeah, no. To be fair, though, shout out to Worcester as well because they played some rugby, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And gave Sale a very good run for their money, wasn't it? It was, but yeah, totally like you said. Sale just managed to, even when they weren't performing particularly well, managed to get that win again, didn't they? So
yeah,
roll on next round.
Absolutely. So the final game of the Gallagher Premiership from this weekend. Bath against Wasps. Unfortunately for Bath.
Do I get to review that one first as well?
Absolutely, mate. Of course you can. You go for it. Let's see the excuses.
It's pretty brief. No, there's no excuses, mate. Didn't turn up.
Mate, they didn't, did they? Those first 20 minutes.
Team 1 didn't turn up. First half was
poor.
Yeah, just shocking. So, yeah, no excuses for that. Half an hour of the second half, some fantastic rugby. Ben Spencer came on, obviously, and made a big difference. And I genuinely thought we once we got back in lead, that was it. With basically 10 minutes to go, the momentum of the game had completely shifted and swung. Launchbury obviously off, unfortunately, and so running the game, and Bath were just massively up on the front foot, and should have won the game, but unfortunately, with the red cards being a big topic this season, this is one game where it decided the game, unfortunately, and changed the game and decided the game. And I'm not arguing that shouldn't have been a red card, because under the letter of the rule, it's a head-on-head collision and that's a red card. But this is, without going into that topic again, this is just, in my view, where the rule needs to be amended slightly, because there was no way that was intentional
collision,
and shouldn't, in my opinion, have been a red card. But it is what it is, and we lost the game. But I definitely think if that hadn't been a red card and Urbano hadn't been sent off for the remainder of the game, then Bath would have gone on and seen that game out. But yeah, it is what it is. No excuses, mate. So
Well, that's that.
Overall, the better team won. So
That's a really good, honest approach to how bad Bath were on the day. So yeah, I don't have anything to add to that, mate. I think you're absolutely right. Spencer came on, made the difference, looked really good, and yeah, it was just unfortunate. Do you think that's Bath's top 4 ambitions over and done with now?
To be honest, I think they already were, but it's probably solidified it. But
Whoa.
I don't know. I don't really know if that is an ambition of Bath. Not saying they would ever outwardly acknowledge or admit that, but I don't know if that's. And let's be honest, the season as a whole, they don't deserve to be a top 4 side because they had the first quarter of the season playing some shambolic rugby. So you don't really deserve to. It's about the season overall and trying to be as consistent as possible, isn't it? So from that point of view, I would say they don't deserve to be a top 4 side. But top. If we could be top 6 and solidify Champions Cup rugby next season, then that's a good result. And obviously, hopefully, winning this coming weekend, which we'll get onto, and then potentially winning the Euro Challenge, getting some silverware into the cabinet. I think that's probably main aim and target for Bath season now. But I don't. I think it's probably confirmed that top 4 is just not reachable now. But in reality, it probably wasn't, even if we had won that game. So.
Fair enough, mate. No, I totally agree with that. It's got to be their main focus now is top 6 and obviously taking the silverware in the Challenge Cup, like you said, which we'll come on to. Okay, so let's just park that now. Let's go on to the Six Nations. We'll finish off with the England-France game. But Ireland played Italy. Ireland came out on top 25-5. So that means that Italy were third. No.
Yep.
Scotland were third. Italy were fourth. No.
Oh, yes. What?
Jesus. Let me start again.
Ireland were third.
Ireland were third. Italy were fourth. Scotland beat Wales 27-20. So Scotland are fifth. Wales are sixth. Unfortunately for Wales, finishing bottom. Although it looks like they had a much better performance, actually getting some points and making a bit of a close game of it against Scotland. I didn't get to see either of these two because I did watch quite a lot of Premiership over the weekend, and obviously the final between England and France. And sweet Mary, Mother of God, what a game that was! So I did a bit of kind of, what's the word, thoughts after the game. I actually wrote them down. Okay. Wow. I know I can write and I can read. It's a miracle. So what I thought, 2 fantastic defensive sets from England and France, which kept the score low. Yeah. And which is quite an amazing thing, really, because prior to that game, in the opening rounds, between them, they scored 33 tries between them.
Yeah.
So when the pressure is put on because the defensive tries don't come, there was obviously those kind of fine margins. And I do think England and France need to look at how they manage their game if they want to kind of compete at the top consistently. And obviously, more importantly, the World Cup coming up especially against New Zealand. I don't think on the performances of the day, they would even come close to beating New Zealand. But obviously, it doesn't mean that they can't improve if they work hard to get to that level. And I think definitely the coach Middleton, he is the man that's going to be able to help them build on that performance for the squad. And I just want to give a special mention to Poppy Cleal because, I mean, she was an absolute warrior. France, in my opinion, they completely targeted her. They know how much of a kind of a special player she is. And every time they kind of knocked her down, she kind of got back up. And I think that was kind of emulated no more than when she was literally dumped on her ass by 2 French players, I think it was, got back up and carried on. It was just a game where, again, defences came out on top. And sorry, I'm rambling now, but it was such a great game to watch. Real one for the kind of purists of two teams that are battering 6 bales of shit out of each other, to be fair.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. It was just a cracking contest, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, you say a great game to watch. It wasn't exhilarating rugby, and like you say, low scoreline. Not was it one? I think it was one try, wasn't it? Just the England try in the whole game. But yeah, a cracking game to watch, like you say, from the purist point of view, and just what a contest! So physical, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
defense against defense. It was just big defense, wasn't it? I actually thought, personally, my sort of feel for the game overall was, I thought overall, France ball in hand looked more dangerous.
yeah,
Than England, had more, or created and had more opportunities to score. But obviously that again just goes to show how good the England defence was to nullify them, wasn't it?
yep.
And but I did just feel that although it was a great contest, but England were just always that just nudge little tiny bit better, stronger and more dominant. And I sort of felt the whole way that it was going to be an England win, although it was going to be tight the whole way. It was going to be an England win. Do you know what I mean? That never was in doubt. So I think, personally, anyway, yeah, like you say about building and going forward and everything. Yes, they'll definitely have to put in a different performance and up the game to match and beat the likes of New Zealand. But they I think it was just a powerful, dominant. Did enough to overpower and nullify and beat a very good French side, didn't they? And a good stepping stone. Won the tournament. Move on. World Cup next, isn't it? Here we come.
Well, no, they've actually got this Friday night another game against France, a friendly. I'm not 100% sure how that's panned out, but they've got another. It might be because of the delay, maybe, of the World Cup, or they need another game. I don't know, but they've got a friendly against France over in France, so that's going to be an interesting one to see. Yeah, to see if France can, get that win over there. It kicks off at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why that's happening. I don't know.
I don't know how you're going to.
Yeah.
To motivate yourself for that one,
but we'll see.
Might be running out. So if that one, maybe they'll maybe quite a few selection changes for both sides for that one. You would guess, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe kind of blood a few more players, or give a few more players a bit more, high-end match experience. Because I guess that's also something, don't get me wrong, I think the women's game is fantastic, but like we've said over the kind of weeks just gone, you can really see the difference in the gulf between England, France, and then Italy, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. It's there is a big difference.
Yeah, well, I'm fairly fairly new to the women's game, but my understanding is in this tournament, England and France are the only fully professional nations, aren't they?
Yes, I think so.
So that's obviously going to sort of prove to be a gulf in playing standards, isn't it? But obviously different case when you get to the World Cup, because there'll be several more fully professional nations involved in that, isn't it? So New Zealand obviously being the key one, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And the fact that the World Cup is in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the tournament. I really think England women's team are doing really well. But also, I don't know if you do know, England and France are actually drawn in the same pool in the World Cup.
I did know, yeah, I did.
Yeah, so that's going to be, going to be really interesting, that one. Can't wait.
Yeah,
definitely watching that.
Makes the weekend result that little bit more positive as well, doesn't it? Because it's always good to the psychological effect, isn't it, of getting that win, isn't it, when you come to these big games? So
yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, good though, mate. Great, cracking game of rugby though.
Really enjoyed it. Okay, so let's just move on to next week's kind of predictions. Obviously, the Gallagher Premiership is taking a week off. Those guys need a bit of a rest. Apart from our boys, Tigers and Bath, semi-final of the European Challenge Cup. Tigers go Friday night at home against Ulster. I think it all depends on selection. I think obviously Leicester have a chance. I know obviously it's at Welford Road and there are no fans. Ulster have been playing well, but I'm hopeful that Tigers come away with the victory. I'm sure you'll probably say Ulster, but I think it's going to be a cracking contest nevertheless.
Yeah, agreed. I think it could be a very good game. But we know Ulster are obviously a strong side and strong European side. But so yeah, big contest, big game for Tigers. But no, I'm going to back Tigers as well, mate. Mainly because I'm obviously going to back Bath, and it would be great to see an all English, particularly Bath Leicester final, and Bath to win it, obviously. But that's obvious side note. But
Yeah, no, obviously, I think although I'm not a massive fan of Bath, obviously, likewise, you're not a massive fan of Leicester. They're not our teams, but when it comes down to kind of English against Irish and French, we're always going to want the English team to kind of progress. And I think you're right. It would, for that final, it would be fantastic if that does happen.
In particular, because the English sides have all been knocked out of the Champions Cup, isn't it? In the quarter-final round. So, so even more so, it'd be great to get two English sides in the Challenge Cup final. But yeah, I think, to be honest, both semi-finals, we haven't got onto the Bath game yet, but they're both going to be potentially big contests and fair. It could potentially be very close. But I think that Nadolo, you mentioned him when he came on.
Yeah,
has made a huge difference against Northampton. So that could almost be the difference for Tigers.
Agreed.
I think. Because he's obviously back fit and playing again now, and he certainly looks to be come back in very good form. So he could make a big difference to the end of Tigers' season. Especially if you've got the likes of George Ford inside who very much know how to use a player like that, isn't it? So
I'd agree.
That's a big positive for Tigers, especially going into a semi-final. So be a tough game contest, but I'm backing your boys, mate.
Good lad. That's what I like to hear. Now, I'm not going to lie. I am obviously going to be back in Bath. But I am a little bit more worried for Bath now, given the fact that Stewart obviously pulled out prior to the game with, I can't remember who they just played, Wasps, with a calf injury. Abano is obviously going to miss the game because of the red card, and I think that is going to add. It's going to be more difficult now when your first two choice props aren't playing, because I think they bring a lot to the Bath team. It's quite a drop off from the starting loose and tight head to the next two. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think if Henry Thomas does start for Bath, he gave quite a few penalties away at scrum time against Wasp. So I'm a little bit worried now in that respect. But then on the flip side, Montpellier haven't played for 3 weeks, so they could be a little bit ring rusty. But obviously, the quality that runs through that Montpellier team, which I didn't realise, Cobus Reinach is there. What's the big French second row? Vermeulen? Not Vermeulen. Vahamahina, he's there. Henry Pollard is the fly half if he's not injured. I mean, Henry Pollard against Orlando Bailey.
I'm not sure Pollard is fit, is he? But
is he not?
They're a star-studded side, definitely, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've massively underperformed for the names on their squad list, haven't they, this season? But yeah, obviously, if it comes together on the day and it all clicks, then anyone's going to find them hard to beat, aren't they? So if that happens, it's a big ask for Bath. But go on.
No, I was just going to say that I think it's all going to come down to selection again. Does Hooper go with Orlando Bailey, or does he go with Matavesi? Which props is he going to go for? Is he going to go for Henry Thomas and Schumann, or is he going to go Christian Judge, maybe, who's a bit bigger, a bigger tight? Is he a tight head, Judge? He's a tight head, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is, isn't he? Tight head.
Yeah, he's a bit of a unit. He's a big lump again. Does he? Just it's going to be a fascinating encounter on tactically. Who I think whoever gets the tactics right is obviously going to win it. But I think also it's important that Bath get off to that running start. They need to not start slowly. They need to start proper into it. I sound like a Bath fan, don't I? But I'm not.
No, I agree though. For particularly because, like you say, Montpellier haven't played for. I think you're right. I think it is 3 weeks. So there could be a bit of sort of rustiness, especially initially there, isn't it? And they're like a lot of the French sides. They've got a very big physical pack, haven't they? So for both of those reasons, Bath just need to start very strong and very quick and move that ball around and get those big guys running around as much as possible, wouldn't it? Tire them out and start running up the points in the first half. Definitely try and build a lead, basically, isn't it? But I think back row's another one when you talk about selection. I agree, obviously, that Stewart and Abano is a big blow, especially with the form both of them have been in. But they bring a lot of obviously in the scrum time, set piece, but just ball in hand and front foot as well, isn't it? A bit of go forward. They've been immense, both of them this season. So that is a blow. Just have to avoid having any scrums, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But back row is I think, and I hope Falatau's back. Underhill hopefully in the mix for selection again, and so I would assume if everyone there is fit, it'll potentially be Falatau, Underhill, and Mercer back row.
Yeah, and you've got Reed coming off the bench. He played really well.
Exactly. Yeah. He's on fantastic form. So if it's the back row I just named selected, tough call on Reed really with the form he's in, but I think he won't begrudge sort of sitting on the bench for those guys, isn't it?
Well, it's not about the player, is it? It's about the team.
Yeah, and he is at the moment. He is a big impact player. So great energy to come off the bench, isn't it? So
yeah.
And then the backline on the whole with Bath, there is some injuries out there. Obviously, you got de Glanville, McConaughey, to name but a few, and then the fly half position, as you mentioned, is the big question mark, isn't it? Yeah, I thought Orlando Bailey had the best game he has had since coming in for Priestland last weekend. Obviously, he took on the kicking duties with Spencer sitting on the bench, but I definitely thought it was the best game he's had so far. So he's obviously developing as his experience builds as a young player. But if Priestland is available for selection, which I'm not sure he will be, or Matavesi, then question mark, would Hooper go for one of them? Sort of backing experience in a big game, or do you stick with your young guy? Obviously, Spencer I would imagine, will be starting, so can potentially relieve Bailey from a bit of the pressure again, isn't it, as he does with kicking and things. But so it'd be interesting to see what they do on selection. But whoever you pick, it's going to be a
hell of a game.
Yeah, potentially a hell of a game. So
okay, cool. So apologies, I think I did say let's look at doing the line squad next week, but I've kind of gone for it this week because the line squad. Short notice. Sorry. Have you had a chance to think of your line squad?
No.
Okay. Well, let's do my line squad.
Off the cuff then.
Well, no. I've thought about mine because obviously it's going to be announced a week on Thursday, the line squad. So maybe why don't we do my line squad this week, your line squad next week, and compare the two? Oh.
Okay. So what you do? You doing full squad?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go full squad. Is that cool?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Good. Love it. Here we go.
But
so,
how do you? Okay. Go.
No, go on. Go on. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, what? Yeah. Okay. So full squad. So you're choosing how many in each position and everything because you don't know for definite what Gatland's going to decide on that, do you? But it should
No,
be.
if I knew that, I'd be
fair.
going down to the bookies. But no, but that is what I'm kind of going to go for.
Okay.
That's what I've written down. Okay.
All right. So what shall I do? She's twiddling my thumbs for a bit.
Well, no, I'll run through them quickly. Like I said, I've prepared. I know. All right.
Crack
Okay.
on, crack on.
What's it? So I'll start with the back three. So I've got.
There you go, mate. A bit of music there, just to introduce you.
Thanks very much. So the back three. I've gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the back row. In the back three. So 6 contenders is what I'm saying. Hogg, Johnny May, Anthony Watson, Liam Williams, Louis Rees-Zammit, and Jack Knoll as a bolter.
Nice.
I know. I thought that was quite good. Let's not compare, though. We'll compare, like I said. I've gone centres, Robbie Henshaw, Owen Farrell, Jonathan Davis, and Gary Ringrose. Fly halves, I have gone Dan Bigger, Finn Russell, what's he called? Marcus Smith?
Yeah.
As a bolter. Scrum halves, I have gone Connor Murray, Gareth Davis.
Wrigglesworth.
No. I couldn't remember the Scottish scrum half. I couldn't remember his name. I've just put Scottish scrum half. I still can't think of his name. Played in the Six Nations.
Disconnect.
Ali Price.
Ali Price, that's the one. Right. Is your phone all right now? It's not disconnecting again.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. So then props, I've gone Tag Furlong, Kyle Sinclair, Wyn Jones, Keane Healy, Xander Ferguson, and I've dropped Mako and gone for Joe Marler. Okay. Hookers, Ken Owens, Jamie George, Luke Cowan-Dickey. Second rows, Maro Itoje, Alan Wyn-Jones, James Ryan, Tag Byrne, and Ian Henderson. And the back row, I have gone Toby Faletau, Tom Curry, Hamish Watson, Justin Tipperick, Sam Simmons, and Big Billy Vunipola. So quite a few names that are obviously players that haven't made it, but I've gone for a few bolters, pretty much just for shits and giggles. I'm going to say that I actually would start, just a quick comparison, I would start Dan Bigger at fly half, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Are you still there, mate? Have you fallen asleep? I think I've lost you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you hear anything that I just said?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. No. Good squad, mate. I like it.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah. I'm just trying to think the best way to do it. So maybe if you send me over yours, I'll do mine, and then we can do a comparison, and I can see where we agree and disagree.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Is that a good way to do it for next week?
Yeah, for next week. That sounds good. That gives you a bit of time to prep.
Yeah, cool.
All right, buddy.
So,
listen.
and have you gone for, that's just your choice who you would pick out of on form and who's available and all the rest of it, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Like it.
36-man squad, okay?
Yeah,
so
okay, cool.
I'll ping that over to you, and then next week we'll look at yours and compare, okay?
Yeah, like it.
All right, buddy. Cool. Well, listen, thanks once again. I will let you get back on the road now, and we'll catch up again soon.
Fancy rugby?
No point in talking about that.
Oh, we're just ending that now. So
No. We're not going to end it. We're just not going to talk about it now because you're still winning.
It's over, isn't it? It's over.
I mean, I lost Stuart. Didn't get a chance to change him. I was very generous and told you that somebody else had been dropped out and gave you the opportunity to change up. But yeah, no, I'm struggling now. I think it's going to be really difficult. So, but I'm still going to carry on.
Did you not swap, Stuart? Because I let you know about him, didn't I?
Not in time. You didn't.
I did. Maybe you didn't put the message up in time.
Debatable. All right, mate. Listen, I'll let you get on, and we'll catch up. We'll catch up again next week.
Cool. Thanks,
All right,
mate.
Take it easy. See you soon, buddy. Bye. Bye. That wraps up episode 30 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby Podcast. Thank you very much for choosing to listen, download, subscribe to our little podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the episode as much as we do, kind of bringing the episodes to your ears. We will be back next week. Obviously, we are available on all major platforms, ranging from YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify and Anchor. Ollie is still carving things up on Instagram. There is still quite a lot of stuff about Bath and not enough about Leicester, but we're going to hold a board meeting about that after this. We are also on Twitter at Top2InchesRP. So if you'd like to go over there, subscribe, leave us some comments. Give us some comments about our squads for the upcoming Lions tour. That would be fantastic. I think that's about it. Just leaves me to say everybody keep safe, and we will be back again next week.